Whoops. This entire time I thought I was streaming, and I guess it was waiting on me to hit the start broadcast part. Oops. Okay, well, 1 second. And I just realized that because, shout out to Ben, he just messaged me on Discord and he was like, hey, I just saw that your stream wasn't live. And I'm like, oh, whoops. Well, thankfully it's only like 15 minutes in and there wasn't too much that you missed. But I'll do the intro again. Hello, my name is Kelsey D. Crawford. I make comics. I usually draw fantasy comics like The Legend of Jamie Roberts, but today I am drawing robot comics. In particular, I'm actually working on this submission for a comics anthology that's coming up. I asked the organizers. They said it was okay if I did that. Yes, Jessica, I would not forget y'all. I just... technical things. I thought that it was going live, and it wasn't going live, so I'm glad it's live now. We fixed it. Y'all didn't miss too much. I just basically showed the progress that I was making on... page 1 so far, which page 1 I can show that now. Here's this character sheet. Now I'm drawing the character sheet because this particular robot character, who's on the left hand side, that sketch on the left hand side is the concept of her after 200 years, and this particular short story takes place over the span of like 200 years. So I need to draw at least 4 different time stop variations of her. One from when she's shiny and new, one from a little bit further into the story, one that's a little bit further, and one that's like her final iteration as she's walking off screen. The concept on the left is going to be her art for when she's basically walking off into the sunset, so I'm going to need to draw the other ones. So that's what I'm doing right now. And I want to get these done so that I have one master sheet that has all the character references that I need for this particular design, especially because she's complicated. She's probably not going to be as complicatedly rendered as the left-hand doodle over here, but we'll see. Yeah. Before I forget, I will show the progress that I've been making on page 1. Here we go. There's the progress on page 1. Drew this earlier today. Really like how it turned out. I found the perfect reference for a manor house and I went, yes. And I'm gonna full disclosure, let you know now, I'm gonna be using this as kind of a cheat for, because at least 2 or 3 pages in this story are going to have panels that show this manor over the passage of time. So this shot is going to come up a couple of different times, but it's going to have increasing wear and tear on it. One of the nicer things about working digitally is that you can do that. Saves you a lot of time. So what we got here is the manor house. Zoomed in here is the horse-drawn carriage and 2 workers dropping off a whole crate for the owner of the house and his bitty tot of a child. In the crate is R083-14, aka Roberta. And Roberta was originally bought to be a gardening robot. The owner of the house did not think that she would be capable of actually using magic to grow flowers. And yes, she is able to use magic to grow flowers. And yes, magic exists in that particular universe because I mentioned this in the 15 minutes that I thought that I was live, but it turns out that I was not live. But this particular story is the origin story for my automaton druid character that I would love to play at some point in Dungeons and Dragons. I just haven't gotten to yet. Anyway, back to this. So we got... Here we go. I knew that there was something about these lines that was a little bit wonky, but I couldn't place my finger on what until I drew the curve up here, and then I went, oh, that's what it was. Lots of ball and joint, like, construction underneath of the plates, but the plates are there to protect the ball and joint operations. But I also wanted the plates on her body to look like interconnected leaves. Because that particular choice was very important to me, because she is a gardener robot. Magic plus robots equals awesomeness. Thank you. I like to think so. That's why I wanted to do it. And also, I'm not sure that I am capable of doing a sci-fi story. Like, it would take a lot of effort. Like, fantasy just comes more naturally to me. Okay, for this, I'm actually gonna just draw the basic calf shape. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. See how that's looking. Okay, I can actually enlarge this, so let's enlarge that. You would think that having done character sheets for Neverending that I would know how to draw these, like, proportionately. And yet every time, every time I have to adjust in some way or another. I either start too big or too small. Now again, this particular iteration that I'm drawing is going to be her kind of like new state, so she's not going to have like the holes or the mud or the weeds growing out of her behind the kneecap or anything like that. Just occurred to me I didn't draw the arms yet. I should draw the arms. The arms are actually situated a little further outside of the torso. I'm gonna fix that. This is also the do not control Z challenge. Now, I haven't actually done the stats for this character yet, but I already have in my mind that, like, all of her, like, mental capacities are going to be her, basically her big stats, and her dump stat is going to be strength. Like, I imagine that she would have, like, a strength of maybe 7, 6. Like, I imagine that her strength stat is going to be, like, a negative modifier. She is there to compute and to do landscaping and gardening stuff. She is not there for lifting heavy things. Gonna draw with her palms like facing towards the viewer. I feel like her legs need to be just a little bit longer, so we're going to free transform and just lengthen them a wee bit. Excuse me. Okay, so we got the little ankle part here. Heel part. Oop. Now, drawing feet is tricky at the best of times. I think I got it. Yeah, chest could be narrowed a little bit further. There, that's much better. Can't remember the last time that I've live streamed drawing a character sheet that was not related to Neverending. Might be never, actually. So consider it reversed. Oh, I'll go ahead and let you know in advance. Live stream schedule. There's not going to be any live streams next week because there's a couple of meetings that are slated to happen around the same time that live streams would normally happen. So instead of trying to schedule around that, I'm just going to skip live streams next week. Do not control Z. How can you get any work done? Slowly. That's how you do it, is you do it slowly. But also methodically. Every once in a while, I'll just do the no control Z challenge just to keep myself fresh. Okay. Oop. It's also one of those things that, like, due to technical issues, I gotta do the no control Z challenge, because I don't know why this is, but sometimes whenever I have Clip Studio Paint and OBS running at the same time, it causes the computer to think that it doesn't have enough processing power to do both. And it causes the control Z function to like undo the last 3 to 4 steps rather than the last 1. I don't know why it does this. It just does this. So I try to navigate around that. Did I remove... Oh goodness, I forgot that was in the original concept art for this character. I had removed the one middle finger digit on her right hand. I forgot about that. I don't know if I'm going to keep that in the final comic, but yeah, that was in the original. Okay, there's her new. Her thighs need to be a little bit thicker. Now, the last couple of days have actually been pretty work light for me. I have been doing some work. It's just, you know, I've been doing a lot of work for the last few weeks that I gave myself permission to go a little easier on myself for the last couple of days. That said, I mostly did that because October is going to be pretty bananas. I'm fully expecting October to be very bananas on my part. Because there's Inktober, which I'm participating in again this year. And I'm actually going to be doing some new stuff with Inktober. Not so much in the subject matter. Subject matter is going to be cats. Because when I participate in Inktober, I fully recognize there are people who put a lot of effort and thought and work into the prompt lists that go up online on Instagram, whatever the heck Twitter wants to be now, and other social media platforms. There are a lot of people who put a lot of thought into those prompt lists that I ignore. I would rather pick a topic that I am interested in drawing and draw to that topic for 31 days. Because there's something about being given a prompt list that makes me go, oh God, now I have to spend the next hour figuring out what layout works best. Whereas if I'm given just draw a cat, then I can treat that a little bit more loosely because I don't have to try to figure out the subject matter on top of the page layout, what medium I'm going to be drawn with. Inks. But I have like a bunch of inks. I actually picked up a new pen recently. There it is. Hilariously, this brand is called Karen. Like Carin, Karen. It is a honkin' thick brush pen. It's beautiful. I love it. It's also like intended for calligraphy, but it is chonky. I don't have enough sanity left to try that challenge. I totally get it. Inktober is a lot. I've heard other streamers have issues with Control-Z like that as well. I think it's because Control-Z is an OBS hotkey, so it might be catching it and doing something odd. I didn't think about that, but that does make sense. I don't know what Control-Z would do with... it's probably the undo button in OBS as well. I didn't think about that, but... like... yeah, so whenever I stream, I just don't do Control-Z. I draw and use the eraser tool. Granted, using the eraser tool is a bit of a pain in the butt when you're working with the symmetry tool, because you would think the symmetry tool on Clip Studio Paint would recognize, hey, I want to erase this line. That means erasing the line on the... nope, it doesn't erase the line on the other side. Okay, I got to go in and do that. Shucks. So, there's a lot of that too. Now, I don't know how long I'm going to be streaming today, because mostly just for biological needs. I've not had dinner yet. I'm not hungry. I'm not, like, super duper hungry. But I know, eventually, that I will be. Okay. So, we got this, and this is Roberta when she is, like, shiny and new. Before she starts getting a little aged. I'm gonna go in and make sure that some of the finer details get included. Mostly in the finer gears portions. Oh, there is a little socket that goes over here. I'm going to add that real quick. There we go. Actually, let's actually use the eraser soft function to lightly erase that, but leave the line there for my future reference. Cool. Oh. Soft eraser for that as well. Okay, now to make this a little bit easier, I am going to move the symmetry ruler over here. Copy paste, shift that over. I want to make sure that it's evensies. It looks evensies to me. Okay, now we're doing the front aged portion. This we're gonna do with blue pencil. At this stage, she's gotten a couple of feathers already. Because one of the things that she likes to do is she likes to take the feathers that she finds just throughout the garden from all the other birds and just tuck them around her ears. This one's much smaller. She doesn't have the crown yet at this point. First signs of age. Oh, I forgot to add the little screws on the arm. Now for this part, she's actually going to get the arm patch here at this stage, because this second stage of age is back probably before the war comes in, because there's a war that comes to the manor at which she is a gardener at. But before the war, the people who owned the manor would have had the resources to, like, patch her up a little bit. Okay. She's going to start getting a little bit of mud on her legs here. Save our progress. Very important to save your progress, kids. So when are you and Ben going to stream together again? You two are so much fun together. I'm hoping soon for a project that's going to be happening end of October, beginning of November. 1 second, I'll get into that in a little bit. So one of the reasons that I'm not streaming next week is because I'm hoping to get some artists together next week in a meeting for a holiday pop-up shop that I want to run as Fantasyville Productions during the month of November. I also in November want to try the sub-campaign feature on Crowdfunder, because Crowdfunder can let you run multiple campaigns at once. And one of the things you can do is you can run a parent campaign and then a campaign connected to that campaign. And I kind of want to try the feature where there's that pop-up shop and then there's a little sub-campaign for pre-orders for the Inktober sketchbook for this year. And just kind of have them both kind of tie in together. If anybody else has other sub campaigns that they want to try to run at the same time as the pop-up shop, we can figure it out that way. But I know on my end that I can connect the two campaigns together. That part is not hard for me to do. But that's technical fiddly bits. But the main thing is that the holiday pop-up shop is something that I want to do. And I'm hoping that I can get the artists together next week so that we can discuss the plan of action, how we're going to go about promoting the thing. And part of that includes live streams with the creators who are a part of the pop-up shop. And Ben, full disclosure, Ben did sign on to be part of this. So Ben just said, I've been running my first crowdfunder and it's been great. I love crowdfunder so heckin' much. So heckin' much. One of these days I'm going to actually do a full-on video going into crowdfunder and some of the nicer bits about it. I know that crowdfunder has people on staff who can help you walk through it, but as somebody who has run both Kickstarters and crowdfunders, I vastly prefer crowdfunder at this point. So, yeah. I am glad to hear that things are going real good for you, Ben. That's awesome. I'm happy for you. I was a little nervous for you, but if there's anything that works in crowdfunder's favor, it's that crowdfunder really likes their indie comics creators. That's partly why they have the system where you can have a parent campaign and a sub campaign happening at the same time. The reason that they did that was because a lot of the comics creators whom they were working with were like, hey, I want to crowdfund a 4-issue run of a miniseries, but running 4 separate campaigns, it's kind of a pain in the butt. And Crowdfunder was like, hey, how about we have a parent campaign and then the sub-campaign can be for issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, issue 4. Have separate sub-campaigns for each issue, but there's a parent campaign that encapsulates all 4. And amazing. Love it. Ben just said, I'm still thinking of using Kickstarter for big projects and Crowdfunder for smaller ones, at least until Crowdfunder gets better discoverability, but I'd 100% switch otherwise. Totally get that. Well, the thing about Crowdfunder is that you do need to have real big marketing chops to make it work. You got to have not just the audience, but the connectability to reach that audience as many times as possible. I've covered it a little bit in past live streams on my YouTube channel, link below, but a good chunk of making a Kickstarter or a crowdfunder successful is being able to reach your audience in as many different outlets as you can. This is just a marketing truism that in order for a message to stick, you have to say it 7 times, at least. And usually in the world of social media, that means you have to say it across at least 7 different platforms minimum. So there's that, but there's also just having to say it 7 times across 7 different platforms. This is why marketing is a pain in the butt. Okay, now that I got the aged, let's go ahead and do the next step up. Just realized that the, hold on. Okay, that's what I thought. These little rivets that I drew were drawn on the wrong layer. I need to put them on this one. Okay, there we go. And this is her aged a little bit further. She realized the symmetry ruler is still on the other figure, so let's move that over. Okay. By the way, Ben, are you going to Cartoon Crossroads Columbus? Because I know a lot of folks on the Columbus Cartoon Coalition Discord have been talking about it. Didn't know if you were going to go or not. I was hoping, or at least thinking, that I would go down to Cartoon Crossroads Columbus this year, especially since one of my favorite mangaka right now, Keiko Gaku, or Keito Gaku, I'm pretty sure it's Keito Gaku, is like making his only American appearance at this show, and I'm like, gosh dang it, gonna have to miss that. Mostly because I don't have a car anymore. I sold my car. But the other thing, too, is that I know that the actual, like, festival is free to attend. I also know my spending tendencies. I would want to buy comics from everyone. There we go. No feathers. Now there is a little bit more age on this one. So she's got a little bit of moss on her shoulder. A little bit more corrosion over here. A little bit more rust on this part. This panel is full on missing. A little rusty. There we go. A little more age over there, and she hasn't quite grown grass in one elbow yet, but she's almost there. She has, however, started growing a little dandelion weed in one kneecap. Little hole in that side. Oh, nice. For folks who are in the Columbus area, Ben just said that he will be at Cartoon Crossroads Columbus. He is manning the table for the Columbus Cartoon Coalition from 11 to 1 p.m. tomorrow. So if you would like to meet Ben Wright Human in person, there you go. There's your deets. Tomorrow, 11 to 1, Saturday, where all of the vendors are at, or all of the tabling comics creators are going to be showcasing their stuff, because there's a bunch of stuff happening with Cartoon Crossroads Columbus. There's like people selling their wares. There's also artists giving talks about stuff, all kinds of things. A little bit more dirt on this part here. A little bit more dirt on the feet. There we go. Don't think I'm going to remove the finger yet. Go ahead and add a start of a rust spot there. And the start of a rust spot here. Bit more scratchy here. Okay, let's move all these over. And then we are going to draw the final iteration. We're going to move some figures over a smidge so that there is room for this final iteration. There we go. That's better. Okay, this final one is going to have a lot more rust. For one, this patch has gotten a lot bigger. In the vein of comics festivals, though, Toledo, my home city, has a comic arts festival happening November 4th. It's a one-day event, but it is happening. I missed the deadline for vending there, but a couple things about that. One, I had been thinking about not doing conventions after some of the stuff that happened in like July, and the deadline for vending at the Toledo Comic Arts Fest was like the middle of August, and I was still trying to make up my mind at that point, and the fact that I just kind of let the deadline slip, I was like, well, that tells me all I need to know about that. And then the other thing is that the Toledo Comic Arts Fest was actually happening the same weekend as a few other shows, notably Akron Comic Con, UmaCon, and now there's another show in Columbus that is happening that same weekend. I don't know what it is about this year that convention organizers all have their shows happen at the exact same time. Small Press Expo also had this issue where it was like, do I want to go to SPX or do I want to go to Baltimore Comic Con? Because both shows are happening at the same time, and they're within like at least 30 miles of each other, which is like, you know. This year has been increasingly frustrating for convention tablers such as myself and Ben. I know Ben just came back from Cincinnati Comic Con, and it did not sound like it went that great, unfortunately. Okay, that final iteration is where she would be growing grass out of one elbow. Okay. So we got that. Oh, she's definitely going to get some mud across her face here. Oh, this moss would have grown a little bit more, so let's go ahead and extend that. A little bit more rust in the shoulders. feet are very messy at this stage. And this rust would have increased a little bit further. Rust on this hip would have definitely gotten bigger. Okay. And that, I think, is R083-14, aka Roberta, at varying stages of age. Newest on the left, oldest on the right. Honestly, she's kind of cute. I like her a lot. I like how this turned out. Let's see. Catching up on comments here. Ben mentions a few things. Almost forgot. C3 cartoon, the Columbus Cartoon Coalition, is debuting their newest anthology at CXC this year. Good. I'm glad that they got it done at Lone Crow Printing. I was very nervous for y'all. I'm glad that Lone Crow got it done. He just said I've had a couple of weak / bad cons this year, so I'm with you. Yeah, there's just something about this year that conventions were just not great. Cincinnati Comic Expo was a rough show. Yeah, I remember you mentioning that on Discord. You actually messaged me. You were like, have you ever packed up and left early at a show before? And I was like, only once in the entire 10 years that I've been doing this. Yeah, and in all honesty, it was Lewisburg Comic Con. And there were a number of things about that show that I did not realize how much of a shit show was going on behind the scenes. But there was a shit show going on behind the scenes at that one, so, you know, I'm okay with not going back to that one. Talking again about Cincinnati Comic Expo. Ben says some of the other tablers who had been there before said that something was off. It's apparently usually a much better show, but most didn't make a profit, and I just barely made table. That's hard. Yeah, that's actually a different vibe from Gem City Comic Con. Gem City Comic Con was the last show that I did this year. That one, the vibe, at least on day one, was that, hey, this is actually a really nice crowd compared to last year. And then day two just died. So there was that. As far as Cincinnati Comic Expo, though, I had heard through the grapevine that they were, by they I mean Cincinnati, was going to be doing renovations on the Expo Center. I don't know how true that is. I don't know what other behind the scenes stuff might have been going on, but there might have been some behind the scenes stuff going on. So, that's frustrating, and I'm sorry that you had to deal with that. So, I'm actually going back to this. Let's put a white background there. There we go. Helps it stand out a bit. Save our progress. Excellent. Okay. Let's check in Discord, seeing if somebody commented on stuff, but oh, Ben just corrected. The renovations are happening next year. The con's moving. Still, there might have been some crossed wires in the communications somewhere there. That seems to be happening a lot this year with conventions. Gem City Comic Con had something kind of similar. That the expo center that it took place in was under renovations, so there were people who didn't know if it was going to be open or not. Which, you know, is not great for trying to run a show. Alright, so we got Roberta's character sheet done. Huzzah! Now that I got that, let's actually go ahead and bring up page 2. There we go. And I'm actually going to bring up page 1 again. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to rectangle. I'm going to select this and put that in panel 1. Just kind of blow it up and change the figures a little bit. That way we can actually see the figures. Zoom in a little bit. First page was establishing shot. Second page is going to be the reveal of Roberta herself. Speaking of, let's get her character sheet up in the sub-view corner over here. There we go. Okay. We're going to redraw these figures so that it looks like they're actually setting the box down. Keep thinking about this anime that I saw recently called Angel's Egg. You can only watch it on YouTube. Like, it was never released stateside. But you can watch it on YouTube for free, depending on the source. But Angel's Egg is one of the first movies ever directed by the same guy who did Ghost in the Shell. Give you an idea of what to expect out of that. There's a lot of Christian imagery in that movie, though. So if that is not your thing, maybe skip that one. Oh, no, Jessica, this is not a stupid question. Jessica just stated in chat, this might be a stupid thing for me to say, but I wonder how much of the con issues is certain people afraid to go out. I'm certainly too scared to go almost anywhere in the USA right now. It's not safe for me. I mean, it's not safe for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons, but I get that on at least 2 levels. One being the contagious disease level and one being the transgender level. At least I can speak for myself on that one. I also spoke with Validation co-creator CB. She just came back from North Carolina and she was like, I did not feel safe the entire time that I was there. And I'm like, I am so sorry. I mean, I'm going to throw this out here. I'm pretty sure this is a safe chat. I also think that right now, there's not really any fear of repercussions because, like, all of the haters who normally hate on Validation have already gone because they think that Validation is done and over and there's no reason to stick around. So I honestly haven't gotten any, like, hate comments or hate mail for a long time, which is different. I didn't get it a ton when Validation was actively being posted, but there would be times that there would be comments, and there would be times where we would, CB and I would have to look at a commenter and be like, why did you write a 20-page dirge telling us about your favorite type of nipple and why that turns you on. Why did you feel like this was necessary? Because, like, being a trans creator online, you welcome two very different extremes of commenter. You either welcome the people, or not welcome necessarily, but there are at least two types of commenters that will pop up in your feed more often than not. The first commenter being people who, you know, want you to, like, unalive yourself for dancing around content things. And the other group of people sending you 20-page dirges about the types of things that get them rock hard. And, like, I don't know why people think that I want either of those things in my inbox, but okay. This is just one of the things about being a creator online, is that stuff like this happens. It does not happen as much as you think it does. At least not for a small-time creator like me. My sub count at the moment is not in the thousands. It will go up the more that people find my stuff. But, yeah, it's, Jessica just said, that's sad. Validation is an awesome comic. Like, Validation is an awesome comic. I'm very proud of the work that I did on that. And I'm really glad that we ended it the way that we did. Yeah. Now, admittedly, I did not see nearly as many hate comments as probably CB did. CB was usually the one who would see those first. But I think also, too, there's something to be said about, you know, comics by and about trans people cater to a very specific internet niche. And most people who would leave hate comments don't go to this particular corner of the internet. They're too busy being on, like, 4chan or whatever. So, like, at least when it comes to creating content about transgender characters or trans comics or being a trans creator, I don't see that. I don't see the hate a whole ton. Now, again, that could be because I'm just a small creator. I don't have sub counts in the thousands yet. Probably once I cross that 1,000 threshold, there's going to be a bunch of randos leaving comments, but I'm like 34 years old. I don't give a shit at this point. Like, people really be thinking that they can leave hateful comments and think that it would actually drive me to commit suicide, and I'm like, I'm a grown-ass adult. Like, I have a more solid bedrock foundation for my self-worth than internet comments. Like, people can leave hate comments all that they want. It's not going to, like, my foundation as a person is not based on the weird shit that people felt like they could leave on the Validation webcomic website. My self-worth is not based on people trying to make sure that my comics are not read in the states of Mississippi or Texas. Like, that's not what my worth is based on. My worth is based on myself as a person. So, I've been trying to prepare for the hate. I know it will show up eventually. Yeah, it's... I'm trying to think of, like, the best advice that I could give for folks who are, like, new to being content creators. Because I know that hate comments are kind of inevitable, but they're only inevitable once you've crossed a certain threshold. But the thing is that once you've gotten to that threshold, you've already... Bree, you don't need to scratch the walls. You know you can come over here. You can come over here and you can cuddle in my lap. I know I'm talking at the camera, but still. Bree took it upon herself to scratch the walls because that is how she wants to get my attention. Bree. Would you like to come on camera? You know, here's my first bit of advice. If you're going to be creating content online. The thing is that you're not going to see hate comments until until you've gotten to a particular point of, I guess, quote unquote, fame. But until you get to that point, a lot of the folks who are going to engage with your stuff are people who like your stuff. Baby, honey, I'm gonna go scoop the baby. Baby. This is the second time that she has scratched the wall, so she is going to get punishment cuddles. Which is probably why she scratches the walls in the first place. Did you just want cuddles? Aww. I thought I heard soft little purrs. Mm-hmm. Look at your little chicken legs. Mm-hmm. This is the cat tax. I'm paying the cat tax. Well, she's not running away, so she must have really wanted cuddles. Did you just want hugs? Mm-hmm. I know. I'm almost done streaming, baby. Actually, this timed out really well since the conversation had been getting pretty serious, so let's alleviate it with a cat. Oh, goodness. That's her signal to let me know she doesn't want any hugs anymore. Bree is very cute. Safriona says, when other cultures do Christianity stuff, it's always so heavy-handed, it's unintentionally funny. Looking at you, Akudama Drive and Christ on the Cross imagery, actual earnest Christian stuff, sad face. Yeah, you know, there is something to be said about outside cultures doing Christian imagery, which is part of why Angel's Egg is so fascinating to me, because it is definitely like an anime creator. It's not just that he's doing a film with Christian imagery, it's also that he himself had been of the faith in the past, and then he had a falling out with the faith, and then he just made Angel's Egg to talk about it. Yeah. Oh, talking about cats. It's the system that works. Cats are funny like that. Yeah, they are. But in terms of dealing with the haters online, the best advice that I can give is that until you get to a certain point of being on the internet, most of the stuff that you're going to see is, like, if you see anything, any comments that are left on your stuff is more than likely going to be stuff that is more affirmational than anything else. So just keep building that base of affirmation. And then once you get to a certain level of virality, then the hate comments don't really matter as much anymore, because you already have that solid base of solidarity with the first 1,000 fans who were there before. And from the opposite end of it, if you're going to be more of a pessimist, the other end of it is that the sooner that you start making stuff online, the sooner that you can see those hate comments, and the sooner that you just get it out of your system. Cause I mean, I've been making comics professionally online for 10 years, but I had been posting online my art before that. So, I mean, I've seen all kinds of weird hate comments. Just the nature of being on the internet. Hey, baby. Baby. You want to be on camera again? She started scratching the walls again. Baby. Are we going to pay pet tax again? paying the pet tax again. Yep. Because she was scratching the wall. That's what she does. She scratches the wall to let me know that she wants pets. When in doubt, cats. Cats make the internet better. Oh, look at that little dainty paw. Yeah. Alright. Actually, I think I'm actually looking forward to someone shitting on me for playing Skyrim. I'm under the impression most people shit on a lot of Skyrim players just for playing Skyrim. But who knows? I think I'm going to wrap it up there for now, actually, because Brooper's getting extra fussy. Yeah. Such an extra fussy baby. So we'll go ahead and wrap up the stream here. Alrighty. So, another reminder, not doing any live streams next week because there's some behind the scenes stuff that needs to be taken care of. Hopefully, next stream will be... I'm going to bring up the calendar so I don't give you the wrong date. Okay. With any luck, next live stream will be October 10th, but don't hold your breath for that because next month is Inktober. Inktober is going to be pretty bananas this year for me. Great stream as always. Thank you, Ben. Shout out to everybody who's hanging out in the chat with me today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate your patience while we take a week off and then come back, hopefully, fingers crossed, October 10th. Keep an eye on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, though, because with Inktober being a thing, I'm going to try to post daily on all three of these things. Which is part of why October is going to be bonkers. So, do all the YouTube stuff, and you can find links to all of my other stuff in the description. That's all I got for now, I think. Oh, and The Legend of Jamie Roberts, my webcomic about genderqueer pirates, and dragons, and magic, and very, very sexy demon boys. That is at thelegendofjamieroberts.com. Link also in the description. And I have a special announcement. I almost forgot. I have a special announcement coming out on YouTube. I believe I have the video scheduled September 30th. I'm going to double check that. You would think I'd know what address to type into the address bar. I'm pretty sure I scheduled it for September 30th. I'm going to double check that because I don't want to give you all the wrong date. Yep, scheduled for tomorrow. Cool. So I do have a new video coming up tomorrow, and it is an actual video, not a live stream. So do the YouTube stuff so that you can catch that when it goes live. Good luck in Inktober. Thank you. I'm going to need it. It's going to be bananas. Keep an eye on all of the on the YouTube, the TikTok, and the Instagram for more details about that when it emerges. That's all I've got for now. Hopefully I'll see you again October 10th for another live stream. I will definitely see you tomorrow for the debut of the video on my YouTube channel. That's all I've got for now. Thank you so much for watching. You are awesome.